Alright, so I'm live now. Or I should be live. Let me make sure it's all going correctly. Alright, I'm there. I'm here. I turn it off. Good. Alright, cool. Oh nice, already got somebody on YouTube. Alright, so today I'm gonna do some more news reading. Same old stuff. I'm gonna start with the Chauvin trial with a recap of that, because I need to format that and post it on the website on leftypol.org. So I'm gonna go ahead and today's a long day. Go ahead and copy that and go through it as I format it. Alright, let's see. Oh, I've got it open in this one. There we go. This window is the one. Alright, let me see. I need to switch over to me so people can... There we go. Alright, now I'm on... Let me make sure... Alright, I'm muted. Good. Alright, hi everybody. I need to format the post to update the Chauvin trial. So, I'll read through that as I'm formatting it. So this was day 21. The 9th day of the actual trial. 21 days overall, including jury selection. We had 3 witnesses today. I think, do we have somebody before the first guy? I think, okay, the first guy, no, he was Dr. Martin Tobin, Americanized Irish, one of the foremost experts in the world on breathing. He has written 8 or 9, he said, books on the subject of the physiology of breathing. So like the biomechanics, the actual way that the body moves and how that interacts with the breathing process. And he said that he's written somewhere north of 750 scientific articles for publications on the subject. One of his books, I forget the title of it, has been referred to as the Bible of Breathing. And he saw this case and decided to volunteer as an expert witness. So he's not being paid for his time, even though he normally commands a very high rate for being famous and well regarded. Short version of his testimony is he pretty much said what anybody would know from looking at the video evidence, which is that Floyd died because Chauvin put his knee on his neck. However, as this guy was a huge expert on the subject of breathing, he actually managed to go through this in excruciating detail and describe like the whole process that described the whole process that he went through, starting with when he was first put on the ground to when he expired, basically. And you know, he did this for like 6 hours, explaining the entirety of it. And the short version of this is that Floyd constantly had pressure on him that was reducing the amount that he could breathe in, his lung capacity, basically. And over time, this caused a decrease in the amount of oxygen that was in his lungs and then in his bloodstream. So the O2 levels in his bloodstream, that's sort of the key factor in terms of survivability and bodily function. And notably about that was over time you have like an exponential function as somebody loses the ability to breathe air into their lungs. So like as your lung capacity is decreasing, I guess maybe I should go like this way, is decreasing, the amount of oxygen that you have in your lungs also decreases, but at like an exponential rate. So it would start off not being a big deal, but then it would suddenly and rapidly drop. And that's consistent with Floyd managing to struggle for quite some time before fairly suddenly going limp. But yeah, he went through all kinds of physiological things about like, here's what he's doing to try to struggle so that he can open up his chest more and have more room in his chest to take in air. Like I said, 6 hours of highly detailed testimony. This guy brought like a bunch of visual aids showing stuff like lung capacity and like he had graphs. He did a whole bunch of math based on Derek Chauvin's weight and how much weight would have been on Floyd. So like it was intense. But he also was able to explain it in a very accessible way. He would go through the details, but then he would sort of sum it up in a way that made it pretty easy to understand what he was getting at. And the short version, of course, is Derek Chauvin put his knee on George Floyd's neck and strangled him until he was dead. The second witness was also a medical expert, but he was a police medic. He was a police surgeon. And he basically, the witnesses, by the way, don't communicate with each other in advance, but he basically corroborated and summed up everything that Dr. Martin Tobin said. Sometimes using like eerily similar language, but of course they're medical experts, so they're going to be using jargon, and they're going to use similar jargon to describe the same event. Let's see, this is the right thread. There was, I think they had 3 witnesses today, didn't they? Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. 33 was the police surgeon. 32 was a forensic toxicology scientist, and also did corroborate a lot of the same things that Dr. Martin Tobin said. Notably, the toxicology specialist reviewed the information on Floyd and found that there was indeed fentanyl and its metabolites, which are what the body breaks it down into, in Floyd's system. And actually, based on the ratio between those two, you could tell that Floyd had not been in like a window of having taken a whole lot recently, which sort of would disrupt the whole overdose story. And beyond that, even the amount in total that was in Floyd's system would not at all be consistent with an overdose for somebody who had never taken the drugs before. And one of the first witnesses they called was George Floyd's girlfriend, who talked for a while about how he was struggling with opioid addictions. So he would have had a very high tolerance to these drugs. And the idea, given the physical evidence, the idea that he would have overdosed is ridiculous. So that's completely blown out of the water by the medical testimony. But yeah, I might want to go into a little bit more detail on some of these because there's like just so much. But that's kind of the summary for today. what they went through. All right, I'm finishing up posting the summaries. There we go. And so make sure it's in all of the threads. Yep. All right, good. Done with that. Yeah, so especially if you combine the testimonies from today with today was like expert day, expert medical witnesses. If you combine the testimony from today with the testimony from previous days by police officers about training, it paints an even more dire picture for Derek Chauvin, because not only does this defense story about drugs completely fall apart and make it very clear that he died from the knee on the neck. You combine that with the earlier days where they testified that Derek Chauvin was not only completely outside of his training, he had been trained to know that what he was doing was lethal, potentially, or probably. It's a pretty open and shut case at this point. Like, I mean, that implies like it's quick, and it's not been a quick case, but it's pretty airtight for the prosecution at this point. We still have to see who the defense calls as their witnesses. We're still in the phase where we're reading in witness testimony, and first you have the prosecution do their witnesses, and then you'll have the defense do theirs, and then after that, both sides will do their argumentation as they try to sort of build a story, a narrative explaining what happened for the jury to decide. But we're still in the phase where the prosecution, the state, is reading in witnesses, which means that I think we're actually near the end of that now, which means that the defense is going to have everybody that they're going to call to the stand. And that's probably going to largely be like police officers saying that what Chauvin was doing was what he was supposed to be doing, and so he can't be blamed for it. But given that so far the cops who've been on the stand for the state have been saying the opposite, that might be problematic for Minneapolis Police Department, having people doing these contradictory stories, and it's possible that the defense's witnesses are gonna like fall apart as they try to put together a story that would help Chauvin. It seems like the police in Minneapolis, and even the outside witnesses they brought in, are pretty unified in throwing Chauvin under the bus. He seems to be pretty doomed from all of this, and with the last few days, especially all the testimony that's come in, people say this is like a joke a lot, but I think that he probably should unironically be put on suicide watch because of just how bad it looks for him right now. But yeah, it's pretty, looks like it's pretty tied up right now. I don't know if there's more that I need to read through for the, oh shit, I haven't put the bus emote on this channel. Let me do that real quick. Yeah, I get the bus emote from the Happening channel. Here we go. All right, that should work. It worked, good. Yeah. So yeah, that's at this point it's kind of just like, I don't know, it's almost like in a weird twisted way, it's like what happened to Floyd himself. It's this like drawn out process where you know what the end is going to be, and it's like inevitable, but you still, it's like there's just more and more of it. So I guess in a way this like highly protracted trial is kind of like poetic justice, but yeah, it's looking terrible for Chauvin for sure. Another you should mention is how bad Nelson was looking, not only disorder. Oh yeah, Nelson actually at one point, weirdly enough, it's another weird like irony, was like out of breath and was having trouble speaking, and they had to take a 5-minute break for him to collect himself because he was so nervous. Truly bizarre for a case where that's like death by strangulation and the whole I can't breathe thing. It was weird. And he was also Nelson, the defense lawyer, was highly unorganized because what was it? There was a PDF confusion thing, apparently, allegedly. He was giving a bunch of false information earlier on in the trial that caused, like, he got caught out doing basically with the witness. This was the police surgeon witness, I think, who basically was saying, well, the information that you're giving me is not correct. And then they like checked, and he said like, oh, I've got like this outdated version. Oh, it was a toxicologist. Okay. Oh wow, I forgot that. Yeah, that's even worse. So yeah, basically he was saying like, oh whoops, I got the old outdated version. But then I checked like my email, and now I see there's an updated new version. I'll pull that up now. So it potentially, it kind of looks like Nelson, the defense lawyer, is trying to employ some like sleight of hand and like show inaccurate evidence, but he got caught. I'm not sure that that's what happened. I mean, it's possible that he just made a mistake because he's made tons of mistakes, but that's a pretty suspicious mistake to make. But yeah, he's in a fragile emotional state, I would say. He seems to be struggling. The breathing thing in particular stood out, where he was just like too nervous to talk correctly. But yeah, let's see. Man, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, I will say that Jerry Blackwell has been doing a great job as one of the prosecuting attorneys. He has like a lot of familiarity with medicine, and he was the one who did the direct examination. So when one side calls a witness and they ask them questions, that's the direct examination, and then the other side gets to do a cross examination where they try to poke holes in their testimony and stuff. The side of the state was doing the direct examination. They've called all the witnesses so far. They did the direct examination of Dr. Martin Tobin, and the attorney who did that today was Jerry Blackwell, who has like familiarity with medicine because of his career as a defense attorney. So he's like the guy to do for that, and he was really good at asking the right questions so that the witness could give the like important answers to the case. And that's a big thing to point out about procedure like this, is that it really matters how good the lawyers are. They have to know what questions to ask to get the important answers. It looks like the state has some really skilled lawyers, so that's it's looking bad for Chauvin. Another reason. Let's see. Are there any more things that I should cover about today? I think I got the broad strokes. Oh yeah, the witness 33, the police surgeon, is also a Viagra prescriber. And he does like forensics for the police. He's from Louisville, Kentucky, which is like kind of funny, weird, because that's where the whole thing with Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend happened. So he might come back in that case. That was, I don't know if the name is on here or not. Yeah, he had like this terrible comb over. I believe he was that guy. There were a lot of objections today, particularly from. Yeah, that's another thing. Particularly from Nelson on the defense team, and the judge was being very, how would you say, lenient and charitable with Nelson's objections. Nelson was continuously kind of, every time something was being said that would be bad for Chauvin, pretty much he would be saying objection. And, I guess maybe the judge felt sympathetic for him and just wanted to throw him some bones because, oof. Yeah, he is having a bad time, but at least the judge is being nice to him and making it a little easier on him, I guess. He gave him a bunch of sustained objections to questions that were pretty fair, but was like, oh, that's kind of leading, so rephrase a question. It's like, okay, sure. And then they gave him that break to collect himself when he was getting really nervous. So, yeah, and we were kind of saying that if Chauvin, he might want to find a different lawyer because Nelson's having trouble here. But of course, this is such a straightforwardly obvious case, and the state has put together like a really great list of witnesses to drive the point home that Floyd died because what everybody can see happened. So, it's one of those kind of things, like they're getting sort of the opportunity to throw the book at this one cop in particular, and some other cops, the ones who were there, are also on trial. I'm not sure about how that's proceeding, but they also were charged related to the same incident. So yeah, I think that probably there's some lawyers who like the idea of getting to have this rare chance to throw the book at the cops for a change, and that's what's happening. Yeah, Chauvin, I don't know what the argumentation is going to yield, but it seems like very likely that he's going to be convicted of at least third-degree murder. The drug thing completely fell apart, and even if it was true, he should have saved Floyd from an overdose. He had the training, he had the knowledge, he had the equipment. But that's not what happened. It's obviously not what happened, and the evidence shows it's not, and the witnesses said that that's not what happened, so it's irrelevant anyway. So yeah, it's pretty locked up now. We'll see what the defense does with their witnesses, but doubtful that anything notable is going to happen. The most notable thing would probably be if the witnesses were just like really bad for the defense and basically just validated everything that the the prosecution already said. So yeah, I think that's about it for the Chauvin trial. That's still ongoing. It's probably going to go on for at least another couple of weeks. We don't know how long total, but it's been very busy. It's been very dense, and it's a lot to summarize. I feel like at some point they're going to make like a limited series about this, like they did with the OJ case. It would have to be very long, or it's going to cut a whole lot of detail. But yeah, this is, I don't know. It's hard to predict where it's going to go from here, what the conclusion is going to be, and how people are going to respond to it. But a whole lot's been coming out in the evidence. Body cam footage, stuff about police training. So, might be more fuel. We don't know yet. We just have to wait and see, I think. All right. I think that's enough recap. I've got the news, and I think it's time to do the news. Didn't start as early as I would have liked to, so I'm not going to do a whole bunch of messing around with goofy stuff. Just going to get right into it. And I'll remind people that if you want me to read a specific story, you can post it in the chat. I have the SciTube, the Twitch, and let me get the YouTube chat popped out. Yeah, I've got the SciTube, the Twitch, and the YouTube chats in front of me, so if anybody wants to suggest something, any of them is a good place to do that. And I will prioritize anything that people post as a story they want me to read. Otherwise, I'm just going to read through the thread and pick out the stuff that looks interesting to me or that the chat asks for. Adjust. Adjust the window a little bit so I can see the chat better. All right. There we go. All right. Got the SciTube all set up so I can see it. Let's see. Wonder how the news is looking today. I know about there was an Amazon vote, and it didn't seem like it went well, but that's probably still being counted up right now. So maybe get to that later. All right. So here's the headlines for today from News Anon. Kannur, DC calls all-party meeting to end violence over murder of IUML worker. Kannur District Collector TV Subhash has called an all-party meeting on Thursday at 11 a.m. after violence broke out in the district following the killing of an Indian Union Muslim League worker, allegedly by Communist Party of India Marxist CPIM activists. Well, we've been following that story, so I'll open that up. Kannur. So emphasis on the first syllable. And then, yeah, Kannur. Okay. I think, unless there's something like pressing Donbass escalation. Well, that's going to be another one to read. EU and UK. All right, this might be a dense day. Let's see. Kannur, DC calls all-party meeting to end violence over the murder of IUML worker. This is from Z5.com, Z5 News. I feel like sometimes archive messes with the formatting a little bit. Terrible source, but it's just a news item. Yeah. Simone, did you want to come on to discuss any of this? Or I don't know how long this story is. Oh no, it's already... Yeah, this is just related topics. Okay. This is a short one. I don't know if they've got more on this story, but... So I'll just recover what I already said. Kannur, Kerala, India. April 8th. ANI. Kannur District Collector TV Subhash has called an all-party meeting on Thursday at 11 a.m. after violence broke out in the district following the killing of an Indian Union Muslim League worker, allegedly by Communist Party of India Marxist CPIM activists. Kannur, India. Kannur District Collector TV. Wait, it's just the same thing. It's the same paragraph. Alright. According to police, after the funeral procession of 22-year-old Youth League worker Mansoor, who was killed in the clash, violence broke out and many CPIM offices were attacked. CPIM offices in Paringathur were set on fire. Apart from this, the Panur Town Branch Committee office and the Achimuku Branch Committee office were also destroyed by fire last night. looks like the park the Peruvian leftist candidate was closed, so he moved the manifestation to the Union Plaza, where the Peruvian Communist Party Unidad is located. The pen is rising. That sounds interesting. If you have a source on that, post it. I'd be happy to read sources posted in chat. In the room, by the way. Let me see. I think it'd be. Oh. I'm not going to open Fedbook right now. I need to put some internet condoms on my browser before I do that. Simone, whichever room you're in, like, ping me so I know which one it is. There's a couple of rooms that I've got open. Okay, so it's on Twitter. If you post Knitter, then it should be fine. Yeah. But a live stream, so it's like happening right now. That's interesting. All right, there we go. Hello, can you hear me? Can you see me? I think the virtual cam is working now. All right, see you, Clash. Thanks for popping in, and also thanks for all the work you've been doing on that trial. It's a doozy, a lot of stuff. Somebody's got a live stream. All right, I'll pull that up. Somebody's got a live stream of Peruvian elections. Oh, that's just a picture. Let me check. Okay, it's just pictures. All right, I thought it was a live stream. Pictures we can get to in a second. If it was a live stream, I would want to switch over to that immediately. Yeah, well, make sure that your tech works before we get too into it. By all means. Hello, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Sure. Yeah. Let me finish this up and pull up a map, maybe. Yeah. CPIM offices in Paringator. I'm not sure how to pronounce most of these. Were set on fire. Apart from this, Panur Town Branch Committee office and the Achimukhu Branch Committee office were also destroyed in the fire yesterday night. Police said the 6-party office. Oh, hey, neat feet. Thanks for the follow. Police said that 6-party offices belonging to CPIM were vandalized in Chakli and Kolavalur regions and that the situation is now under control. After the arrest of CPIM activists in connection with the murder of Mansour, police also took into custody IUML workers in connection with the attacks on CPIM party offices. The Kannur district collector has called the all-party meeting to ensure peace in the region that has witnessed so much political violence in the past. So yeah, it's a developing story. They're trying to deal with what's going on there and this recent event. Oh, right. Mm. Right. Yeah, you gotta love the names and how similar they often are. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, here we go, Kerala. Right, right down here. Yeah, I was using the mouse at first, but it's hard to see that. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I've seen it mentioned plenty. Oh shit! Hold on. Nobody can hear you. Shit. Um. Yeah, hold on. Shit.
Oh no.
Yeah, somebody just posted it. I think. Try it now. Can you hear now?
Yeah.
Give a test.
Hello. Testing. Testing.
Yeah, I think I switched. I just put it back on. It might take a second for it to be audible. Actually,
NA says yes.
All right, good. Thank you, NA. Thank you. I think I'd switched something off for earlier. Thank you very much. I didn't catch that.
Okay, sorry, so go from the top.
Yes. Yes. Sorry about that. That's entirely on me.
You're all good.
I should have.
You're all good. That. Yeah, I mean, maybe this time I'll be a bit more concise. But basically, I mean, the first thing to premise this is, I think a lot of the time when people think of Indian communism, they immediately think Naxalites. These people are not Naxalites. The Naxalites are the Communist Party of India Maoist, among other groups, whereas this is the Communist Party of India Marxist.
Yeah, and they were like Eastern India, right? More so.
That's where the Naxalites are.
Yeah, that's where they are. But we're talking about this part of India.
Mm-hmm. Well, historically, I guess the parliamentary ML, so to speak, right? They had their bases in Kerala in the southwest and in West Bengal, which is partly where the Naxalites have had their base.
West Bengal, that's like...
It's the west of Bangladesh's east. Yeah, it's a remnant of the British.
Yeah, it's here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that is more so in the Naxalite region, but this happened in Kerala and Kannur.
Right. Yeah, I'm just... And the text on this map is small, so I was having trouble finding the names.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, just a fun fact, like as an aside, yeah, this is actually where I'm from. I was born in Kerala. My mother's from there. It's too bad I don't speak the language.
Yeah, I imagine.
But I spent.
I don't know how many languages there are in India, but I mean, lots of regional ones, right?
I think there's 22 official languages.
Hmm.
With governance being done in Hindi and English.
Right.
In Kerala, they speak a language called Malayalam.
How do you spell that?
Malayam. It's a palindrome.
Okay. So, let me see. Boom. There we go. Malayalam, right?
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
But yeah, they speak their own language. And yeah, Kerala, it just so happened, was one of the 2 states in India that elected some of the first communist governments into parliament. While they did not go sort of all the way, per se, their line was always pro-Soviet Union, and it was an ML line, right? That you could probably see resemblant in like historical parties like the Communist Party of France in like the 50s, or even in some ways like the Communist Party of Germany during the Weimar period, which we'll actually get to in a second, speaking of paramilitaries. But yeah, so they came into power and they built a base, though, in a really significant way in essentially creating the first trade unions, making tremendous progress in eliminating casteism.
Oh, okay.
and sort of the historical currents that informed this sort of slightly more milquetoast version of communism. Actually, yeah, a lot of it comes from the anti-casteist movement specifically. And they also had a fairly rigorous land reform program, right, which, in a semi-feudal area was very significant. And in a country where there are really still some semi-feudal areas, right, that they were able to essentially eradicate it is remarkable.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I guess that's part of the advantage of being in such a big country, where maybe it's easier to find locations like that where it's possible to do something fairly radical because it's not uniform.
Yeah. Another advantage it had is that unlike some parts of India, it is majority Hindu, but it is not overwhelmingly Hindu. It's something like 53% of the population or so. And then it's about maybe 26 Muslim, 24 Christian. So yeah, very, very heterogeneous area.
Yeah.
And, I think Marxism becomes, sort of particularly useful in such a context.
Well, yeah, if you have people who are divided over those other kinds of things, it's easier to unite with your neighbors over, the thing that doesn't divide you that you have in common instead, which is, your economic situation.
But yeah, so going back, when you sort of look at the sort of nature of violence, though, in the history of this party, a lot of it comes from skirmishes, right? Skirmishes with the BJP's grassroots organization, the RSS, antagonism with the police at times, and as we see now, antagonism with the sort of Muslim electoral front. Kannur is in the north of the state, and it's probably one of the areas where you've always seen the most tension. It's known as being a communist stronghold. However, it has a very large Muslim population, and there are some radicalizing Wahhabi influences, as there often are in, areas with significant Muslim populations. And that's spreading in. But sort of in the era of Modi and, the era of Wahhabism, basically the way that this is currently manifesting in Kannur, right, which is in some ways almost like Portland with balls, there are just skirmishes, right, between the CPM's, youth organizations, and, sort of trade union elements, and the grassroots organizations of both, the Muslim, League and the BJP, right? So they're going at everyone. But at the same time, I mean, there's a lot of violence in Kannur. It is sad to sort of see how much it happens. And, people will kill each other, right? It'll be 3 people, 2 people, but people die.
So
from
skirmishes, small scale kind of conflict, not guerrilla kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is we're talking street fights, or
Right.
as described in this situation, right? Setting fire to party offices.
Okay, yeah, different situation than the other stuff we were talking about before.
I mean, it's a sort of, it's an entrenched political party at the end of the day there, right? It is not a radical anti-revisionist organization in the same way that, say, the Naxalites are. But at the end of the day, they are communists, especially and they have youth organizations, of course, which are very passionate. And in some ways, the party, administration and leadership is trying to rein these guys in, right? That's why we're now having an all-party conference happening. And what's another really funny one? Oh, yeah. Someone in the leadership said, all right, guys, please stop flying flags with Che Guevara on it. I know you guys love him a lot, and he's a very inspiring figure, but it alienates the wider population.
Yeah, it's funny because like people have different attitudes toward Che Guevara in different parts of the world, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, it's interesting that he'd be alienating in that this corner of India.
I think it's more so like, well, it's just tough, right? Because it's a very politically advanced part of India. And it's a politically advanced area where overwhelmingly power shifts between liberals and left-wing, center-left-wing social democrats. Right, which in a country like, India is, no small thing, right? So the paradigm is very different. And along with that, people in this day and age especially, right? I mean, it's not as if India was not susceptible to the whole end of history narrative, right? And in, at one time it started to feel quite LARPy, right? And for some time, and this continues to be a problem, they have struggled to get younger members.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's, you can't really escape the reach of, Western bourgeois liberalism these days, can you? The ideology farms that they have going.
Yeah, and I mean, on the other hand, right, I think that we can very much, and this is part of why I wanted to bring up mystifications yesterday. We can very concretely learn from something like this, right? Ask the question, is this tactically effective? How does it relate to a situation where there is somewhat entrenched power, right? And how do you manage liberals and reactionary idpol?
Right, yeah.
I mean, granted, the Anglo influence is strong in many elements in India.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I think India, in all of its manifestations of communism, is a very interesting case indeed.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to go into any more depth on, like, what we would consider the lessons to learn from this, or, like, potentialities for the future?
I think we need to I need to reflect a little bit more on it. I also think that, I don't know, Kannur is a very specific situation, and I mean, it just seems like it keeps going and going, right? I'm glad that, these people are situating themselves in counterpoint to both, BJP types and, these sort of Islamist elements, right? But on the other hand, it's unfortunate that there's just sort of this region where, like, people are just killing each other over electoral politics.
Yeah, that's tragic. Yeah, I feel like, especially like as complicated as the political situation is as a whole in India, it is something that warrants some due reflection. But I'm not familiar enough to do that, so yeah. I'm always eager to learn about these situations that I'm unfamiliar with.
My own personal opinion, on that situation is that it is a very steep uphill battle, I think, for the left to gain a hold. Since the Congress gave up its sort of Fabian social democracy in the early 90s. It seems like, what's interesting though, right, is this sort of hegemonic Modi era might just give the left the opportunity to express itself.
Right, that it's like, I guess kind of like a pendulum swing situation, where like you get enough of a reaction to this, you get the momentum to go hard in a different direction.
Yeah, and I mean, it's sort of, they're the consistent anti-fascists.
You mean in the CPI Marxists?
Well, just communists in general. Okay. I was thinking more so.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. That's.
And I think Yeah, I mean, they're also the only sort of substantial party that's sort of positing a vision that seems to differentiate itself from, both the center left and rightist liberal strains you see right now.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I mean, and you see this actually kind of, maybe this is something to consider, right? I don't want to say that this is effective or ineffective, but I think that the context of it, right? I wouldn't say this about the Naxalites, for example, right? But I think to some extent, like small scale skirmishes like this are part of why, the commies have kind of been relegated to being a regional party.
It makes sense. I mean, who wants that kind of stuff in their backyard, right?
When they do, they want it based on sectarian, tribalistic impulses.
Right.
That's not what the commies do.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's another layer to it. But yeah, same kind of thing. That's not productive. It's kind of a problem for the goals that they want.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, I need to head out for a bit. I was hoping to just do a bit of fill-in on this one, but, thank you again.
Absolutely. I'm glad to have you on for the familiarity with the situation, the expertise.
Yeah, of course. All right. I will see you later.
All right. See you, Simone. Peace out.
All right. Bye.
All right. So that was just a little extra insight into the whole situation on that story, because it was a very short article. This is what made the situation complicated. It was a Muslim League guy killed. Right. So there's like tensions over politics and religion. Actually, let me reopen that story real quick, so we can review what actually the detail was. Violence broke out in the district following the killing of an Indian Union Muslim League worker, allegedly by Communist Party of India Marxist activists. So that's what this is about. They called like an all-party meeting to try to deal with the situation. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right, Cap. You missed the actual article. There's like not a lot to the article, but pretty serious thing. And I guess it's still allegedly. We don't necessarily know that who did it, but that's the claim. That's the story. Yeah, you're right. It's no use to have just violence like that inflaming without anything productive behind it. The next story that I had was somebody in chat. What the hell was my name? Hold on, I'll remind them what their name was, because I do see the aliases. That was your name. So this is the Peruvian election. You heard about the Deliveroo strike going on in the UK. Interesting how parts of the gig economy are starting to get organized. Yeah. And see, here's the thing. So, like, apparently the Amazon workers' unionization vote is going to fail, which is kind of surprising. But the fact that was a thing in the first place is a big deal. And it got a lot of attention on the idea of, organizing and labor activism. And I think that a lot of people are going to follow that example, even if it fails. So yeah, a strike of delivery workers. Yeah, that's really interesting, because the gig economy runs on like precarious work. And I don't know how effective traditional strikes would be in that context. This might be something that you need to reevaluate and figure out like what you could do that would be like a more effective method. Because if you're a precarious worker, they can kind of just easily let you go. and it's hard to really leverage your labor power against your employer the way you do normally in a strike. So I don't know. We might have to like look into that in detail. Yeah. That's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, Capitalist Realism was saying Japanese bus drivers would continue to run buses, but just not charge people, which denied their employer the business. In the same way that like you would if you just managed to keep anybody from working, but they also didn't disrupt the customers at all, which meant that the customers like were kind of won over by the bus drivers to a degree, and also they were getting free rides. So yeah, that kind of thing is what people need to be thinking about. Like, what can we do differently that might win-win, that might be more effective at hurting the bottom line. If we're just going to get fired, maybe we need to do something to the effect of continuing work but not charging money, right? And that might work just if you translated that directly to the gig economy. If there was like, I don't know, some way to get your customers to cancel their order after you already delivered the thing or something, I don't know. But yeah. Modern problems require modern solutions, you could say. So yeah, here's the Peruvian election results. I don't have. This is a screen cap that was posted in the chat. Filtrated polls. Gonzalo still imprisoned in Peru, right? Yep. But what's the results looking like? At the top we've got Fuerza Popular. So these are just polls, I guess. Gonzalo's been in prison for 20 years. I'm not sure what the number is, but yeah, that's how it goes with political prisoners. Let's see. So, what do we got? Fuerza Popular, Acción Popular. Although, I'm not sure what this total. So this is like percentage-wise, but I'm not sure. I guess this is this column is what they were before, and then this column is where they are now. I think, yeah, because 12.1% to 9.1 is a drop of 3%. Yep, that's what it is. Popular just means popular. I don't know specifically what these parties are about necessarily, but Popular seems like a popular name to be using. Fuerza Popular, Acción Popular, Renovación Popular, Perú Libre, Avanza País, which is like, I think that means like avanzar, like advance, so like move the country forward. Juntos por el Perú, together for Peru. Victoria Nacional is, I mean, that's pretty clear with that. Most of these are like, Spanish is often very easily translated. Podemos Peru, we can Peru. APP, I don't know what it stands for. Partido Nacionalista, so that's the Nationalist Party getting 2%. Partido Morado, I don't know what Morado is. 4.5 increase for Peru Libre. Yeah, so that's like a big, especially when you look at the rest of the breakdown here. That one's like surged. Like more than half of its current, what do you call it? Its current amount is new from, I guess this is, what's this, Abril 1 to Abril 2, so I think it's just April 1st to 2nd, which seems, maybe it means like, I don't know. Okay, so the first one is 27th to 29th of March, and then the second one is 5th and 6th of April. Not sure why that they're called April 1 and 2, but that's what it's showing. Juntos por el Peru, Milquetoast left-wing coalition. Okay. Damn, they did their own Podemos low. According to the pollmaster, there's an electoral draw, yet those guys suck. Glad they are being vanished. So that's Podemos, which is... It's up 0.2%, but it's low. It's at 3.7 here. Yeah, I don't know what all these parties are. If you have like the list or whatever, or if you want to like come on voice and talk about it, that'd be cool. But yeah, I can't make too much of this, but it looks like here's the updated polling for the parties. I guess this is just like the bottom of the image. Let's see. So here's the percentages, and then it's a breakdown by region, but it's cut off. And what's the second image? Simulacro, so simulation from April 7th for the presidential vote. So votos emitidos versus votos válidos. So valid, but I'm not emitidos. Let me look that up. I wish it was in text because I could just highlight it, but let me just pop that into Google Translate real quick. Okay, votes cast. I guess so that's like votes cast, votes validated. Find the stream tab. Oh, well, there's signs now. According to the pollmaster, there is an electoral draw. Yeah, those guys suck. Glad they're okay. Yeah. So we've got 12.9%, 12.7% for these two parties. Keiko Fujimori, Fuerza Popular, and Pedro Castillo, Peru Libre. So, how do those two parties compare? Which is like Popular Force and Free Peru, or what the English equivalent would be. Close all that stuff. Fujimori was in power previously, I'm sure. Popular Force is a right-wing party, heirs of Fujimori and his shit. Alright. I mean, it does sound like a right-wing party, Popular Force. I think the Shining Path, among other militias, went against Fujimori. Okay. And then what's Peru Libre in contrast to that? Since that seems to be in like a deadlock electorally. The rest of them aren't. I mean, the next one closest is Acción Popular, but the rest of them are a bit down there. I think Peru Libre is left wing. I mean, it sounds like it, but I don't know the parties. Yeah, in the end, that's the news. We're in electoral tie between 6 parties, right? Yeah. So let's see. We've got, yeah, there's 5 that are in double digits. So we've got Fuerza Popular, Peru Libre, Acción Popular, Avanza País, Juntos por el Peru. So just going by the names, I would say, so apparently Fuerza Popular is right wing. Peru Libre sounds kind of vaguely left wing. Maybe like progressives or something. I don't know, SOCDEMs maybe. Acción Popular sounds maybe a little bit more radical, but probably kind of ineffectual. Avanza País sounds liberal. Juntos por el Peru sounds really liberal. So, I don't know. That's just my guess. Peru Libre, like SOCDEMs. Yeah, I can't say. We're asking our expert in the chat about these. Let me actually look up Peru Libre's Wikipedia page. When you're resorting to Wikipedia, you know that you don't know shit. They may not even have one. Oh no, it's just in English. Okay, that's not the right one. Or maybe it is. Okay, no, it is. Partido Político Nacional Perú Libre is a left-wing to far-left Peruvian political party of regional origin. Founded in 2007 as political regional movement Free Peru, the party was officially constituted as a national organization in February 2012 by the name of Libertarian Peru, although ideologically not aligned with libertarianism. In January 2019, the party's name was finally changed to its current denomination. I think this is the same one. Let's see, this is... Oh, no, this is not even on the chart. It doesn't, or no, that's 2020. 2021, let's see. Yeah, I think this is like some minor, unrelated party. So Free Peru? Because it was showing numbers for this election, it was like bullshit. Like 0%. Well, yeah. So Peru's got a deadlock, so we don't know what leftypol should honestly push you like they did with Haas. They want to, they can. They wanted to with Haas because he was like enrapturing them with his spectacle. I don't want to do spectacle shit. I want to actually do something useful. You should have more numbers than him, definitely. I don't know. I'm not like a... I could be more of a showman, but I'm not that type of person. I don't like showing off. Let's see. I think we've covered this about as much as I can. I wanted to be thorough because it was a user submitted one, but all we had to go on was a little bit of screen cap from a live stream. Let's see what's... Oh yeah, here we go. Here's the Ukraine stuff. Donbass escalation would be beginning of the end for Ukraine, says Putin aide. The outbreak of major hostilities in eastern Ukraine would mark the beginning of the end for Kiev, a top Kremlin official warned Thursday, as alarm continues to grow over troop buildup in the region. I support the assessments that also exist inside Ukraine, that the beginning of the hostilities is the beginning of the end of Ukraine, President Vladimir Putin's deputy chief of staff Dmitry Kozak said. Well, that doesn't sound good. It's just going down in Northern Ireland. Yeah. If anybody has like stuff on Northern Ireland, post it and I'll put it up. Oh shit, some bread tuber brought up your name. Maybe, I don't know. Vowlish played the Destiny video that I made way back, but I don't know. I'm out there publicly, so anybody could say, "Hey, look at this guy." So I wouldn't be surprising. Do you know who said it? Or where'd you hear that? Some dude, no comment chick. To trigger Haas. I kind of want to go find his stream and like while he's doing something, just give him a follow on Twitch so he sees my name again. But that would be funny. No comment trick. Yeah, don't know who that is, but that sounds pretty cool. Basically it's just Brexit tensions up in Northern Ireland. Yeah, probably. But you know, it seems a little physical based on the stuff I was seeing the other day. They were throwing Molotovs at vehicles, set some on fire. Oh yeah, about the sea border. Yeah, the sea border as being like the thing that's pissing people off in Northern Ireland, right? Yeah, because they don't want they don't want to lose trade. Oh, they burned a bus driver. Man, fuck that. That's some bullshit. the thing is, they think this is the next step to isolating Ireland. Yeah, I don't know. Probably a dominion effect to conflict. What is it? What does that mean? NA. Don't know what the Republicans are going to do about it. I mean, do they have to do anything about it? Is it going to be like? Is it going to be something significant enough that they would need to do something? UK PM Boris Johnson has been mostly ignoring it. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's kind of like, what's it going to accomplish? Like, it's a reality of Brexit that they're going to have to deal with. So, yeah, all right. So I got that one story, and then here's the next one. EU and UK pledged backing to Ukraine after Russian military buildup. The European Union and UK have pledged unwavering support for Ukraine's government amid concerns of a military escalation in the east of the country or a possible new offensive against the NATO ally after recent Russian troop movements. Oh, we were just talking about the Boston Dynamics shit the other day, and here's a story. French military tests the robotic dog spot in combat drill. Boston Dynamics tells media it had no idea. Oh, so the French are doing drone warfare with robot dogs, just like Boston Dynamics, but it was a secret. Oh, domino effect. I see. Yeah. I could see a domino effect leading up to conflict with Northern Ireland, but I don't know. Right now, it didn't seem like enough was going on to make too many waves. Like, they're protesting against something that's kind of an inevitability at this point. So, I don't know. I'm not an expert on the area either, so not comfortable just like wildly speculating about it. But yeah, things are tense right now, so domino effect is possible. To what extent do Tories LARP as bigots, as opposed to just like actually being bigots? Oh yeah, some of the tensions over Northern Ireland were happening due to some MPs attending an IRA funeral. Yeah, that was what because it was like a COVID thing. Like they were supposed to have only 30 people at a funeral or something like that. Yeah, so they're like mad that people were mourning someone died. So, I mean, like, probably not a good idea to have a big gathering amid COVID either, but yeah, dumb reaction to just go throw Molotovs at vehicles because people are mourning. Some Tories are liberal, some Tories are very much bigots. Yeah, I mean that's how it is with these political parties that capitalize on bigotry. Some of them are doing it cynically, and some of them are just genuine. Either liberal-esque racism or just openly racist. Yeah, and I mean, like, either way, like pragmatically speaking, de facto you are being racist if you like, I'm not feeling like I'm a bigot in my heart, but I'm putting in place policies that are going to discriminate. Like, yeah, you're still doing racism. Kind of not, doesn't depend on how you actually feel. So yeah. I don't know. Today seems like it might be dense. Oh wait, here we go. We just talked about Peru. Peru national polls forecast low turnout in election day. Survey by the Institute of Peruvian Studies on Wednesday showed that the COVID-19 health crisis had the apathy felt by the people for the presidential elections could lead to a low turnout in the polls on April 11th. Peruvians have no favorite candidates among the 18 parties that are running in the elections, the IEP stated, and informed there would be a technical tie among the frontrunners. Well, they were right, it looks like. Mostly was asking because I was wondering if the Tories are ready to mega fuck the loyalists. I mean, yeah, that is a good question. How many of them are just being cynical? Wonder if any ballot boxes will be burned. I don't know. All right. Let's see what's going on in Ukraine. I kind of want to read the dog story. Yeah. But let's do Ukraine first. The dog story will be the treat after we get through this. All right, Donbass escalation would be... Oh, this is a short one, it looks like. No. A Donbass escalation would be beginning of the end for Ukraine, says Putin aide. The outbreak of major hostilities in eastern Ukraine would mark the beginning of the end for... God damn it. Let go of the scroll bar. There we go. The outbreak of major hostilities in eastern Ukraine would mark the beginning of the end for Kiev, a top Kremlin official warned Thursday, as alarm continues to grow over troop buildup in the region. I support the assessments that also exist inside Ukraine that the beginning of hostilities is the beginning of the end of Ukraine, President Vladimir Putin's deputy chief of staff, Dmitry Kozak, said. It's a self-inflicted wound, a shot not in the leg but in the face. The state-run RIA Novosti news agency quoted Kozak, the Kremlin's appointment in relations with Ukraine and pro-Russia separatists, as saying at online talks. Why do they gotta structure sentences like that? It's a pain to read. The senior Putin aide added that Moscow would have to come to the defense of Russian citizens in eastern Ukraine, depending on the scale of the fire. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously code. Kozak's warnings follow Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's recent appeal for support from Kiev's Western allies and visit to the front line amid the Russian buildup near its border. Yeah, not looking good. Military analysts say Russia has amassed the largest concentration of forces near the Ukrainian border since the deadly conflict between Ukrainian forces and pro-Russian separatists first broke out in 2014. Russia is widely believed to provide backing for the separatists, which the Kremlin has repeatedly denied. Ukrainian military estimates that Russia has deployed 28 battalion tactical groups in at least 4 regions, including annexed Crimea. Russian military analysts reported, citing online wagon tracking services, satellite imagery, and TikTok videos, that Russian military units have set up camp some 250 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. The Kremlin has acknowledged the troop movements, but insists that they do not pose a threat to anyone. Western leaders, including German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who held phone talks with Putin on Thursday, have called for restraint over the Russian buildup. Putin accused Ukraine of provoking tensions in the phone calls with Merkel. Yeah. Any excuse, right, Putin? All right, well... Wonder what extent their chest thumping? That's hard to say, but I mean, Putin has been pretty willing to try to push annexation and grow his power, so leftypol has been siding with, only skim some of the friends, either no one in Russia or some of the Ukrainians legitimately Nazis, Ukraine associated with the UK, the EU bloc, and Turkey's new shenanigans. Maybe, pretty sure current leading coalition is liberal. That makes sense. I'm guessing there's going to have Western backing, and of course there's going to be some Western backing in the mix. And our way to bring influence into Eastern Europe, yeah. This is the comedian who played the president who became president, yeah. Who is president right now? Yeah. Oh, well, bye. What the hell was my name? I think they jetted before I could say bye. Yeah, so Ukraine is, continuing to raise the tensions. Yeah. Not looking too great, but I don't know. Maybe it's gonna fizzle out. I kind of doubt it, but maybe. I mean, it seems like people are gearing up for another conflict here. EU and UK pledge backing to Ukraine after Russian military buildup. Boris Johnson, a European envoy, says Kyiv, I guess they're spelling Kyiv a different way, as their unwavering support while Moscow denies the threatening behavior of Russia. Here's a picture of Ukrainian soldiers, I guess. Yeah, on the front line with Russian-backed separatists in Donetsk. UK suspiciously has reshaped their entire military as well, huh? I mean, things are changing. Brexit's happening. US hegemony is fading. Yeah. Probably is the time to be doing that in the UK. I mean, shit can't get too hot with Russia itself with all this nukes. Yeah. So it's a very delicate sort of situation. Boris has been super funding the UK's military and adding all sorts of projects. Although we got a decrease in soldiers. Oh yeah, they're mechanizing the military. That's what the robot dog is all about. That's what drones are all about. Reducing the boots on the ground in favor of machines. Almost sounds sci-fi. It's just unbelievable. Well, I mean, here we are. Welcome to the future, buddy. The future is now. Investing in death for technological development. Yep. Basic industrial production ain't coming back. Nope. We don't have a whole lot that you can do with heavy industry anymore, but manufacturing weapons is one thing. Always new weapons that you can develop and then barely use and like leave to rust, like all those fancy jet planes that the U.S. Air Force had. Oop. Oop. Anyway. European Union and UK have pledged unwavering support for Ukraine's government amid concerns for a military escalation in the east of the country or a possible new offensive against the NATO ally after recent Russian troop movements. Ukraine has accused Russia of massing thousands of military personnel on its northern and eastern borders as well as on the Crimean Peninsula, annexed by Moscow in 2014. Online researchers have identified troops being transferred to Ukraine's borders from western and central Russia, including artillery from as far away as Siberia. Well, I mean, which part of Siberia? That's it could be western Siberia or it could be eastern Siberia, and that would be like doubling or tripling the distance. Late on Monday, Boris Johnson's office said the prime minister had significant concerns about Russian activity in the Crimea and on the Ukrainian border, and reaffirmed his unwavering support for Ukraine's sovereignty and national and territorial integrity. In a phone call with President Volodymyr Zelensky, in a tweet after the call, Zelensky thanked Johnson for his support against a serious challenge to the security of NATO members, and said the Ukraine was not alone and was supported by the G7 nations. Earlier, the EU Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell said he was following with severe concern the Russian military activity surrounding Ukraine. After a phone call with the Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba, he also pledged unwavering EU support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. So, saying all the same thing. The Russian government has denied it is planning a military attack, but has not denied the troop movements. The country's Deputy Foreign Minister, Sergei Ryabkov, on Monday said Russia was doing what it considers necessary and would ignore signals of concern from the United States and other Western countries. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, sounds like a game of chicken a little bit here. Guess it's time to read Baudrillard's Did the Gulf War Ever Take Place, which touches on technology and war, although he's a bit too loony postmodernist for me sometimes and a bit ungrounded. Understands the world, though, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like things are developing and changing so much that some of that stuff is going to become less and less relevant over time. I mean, the more this kind of stuff gets mechanized and virtualized, the more divorced it becomes from the earlier state of things. I think that there's a whole lot to be said about how relevant older stuff is to today, but we might be hitting a point where things really are fundamentally changing when we've got just so much has become digitalized and controlled through computers. At the very least, I think there needs to be we need to understand that things are configured a lot differently now. Let's see. Moscow's aims are unclear. While it regularly holds military exercises in the region, the Russian military's deployments appear out of cycle for such exercises and are not regular troop rotations. Michael Kaufman, director of the Russia Studies program at the CNA Corporation, noted last week. He wrote that Moscow's goal may be to intimidate Ukraine and put pressure on its Western allies to back political concessions in order for Russia to freeze the conflict in the country's southeast. Moscow may also have been putting the Biden administration on notice that it remains a formidable power willing to project its power abroad. That signal appears to have been received. U.S. European Command raised its threat level from possible crisis to potential imminent crisis, the highest level last week. On Monday, Ryabkov hinted at what Moscow's aims might be, saying that the United States should apply greater effort to enforce the Minsk agreements, a 2015 roadmap out of the conflict that many in Kiev believe is disadvantageous and was forced to sign during the Russian-backed offensive. Borrell said he would hold further talks on the issue with Kiev's top diplomat and foreign ministers from EU's 27 nations at a meeting later this month. Online researchers have collected video and pictures of it uploaded to the service TikTok, showing Russian troops in armor being transferred across Russia to the Ukrainian border and into Crimea. They included pictures of train carriages carrying tanks, rocket artillery launches, and launchers. That should say launchers, they're not carrying launches. And trains carrying contract troops to the border region. Reports of a buildup have swirled amid an escalation of armed clashes along the front line between Ukraine's forces and Russian-backed separatists. The long-simmering conflict has claimed more than 13,000 lives since 2014, according to the UN. Western leaders, including Joe Biden, have said they are standing by Ukraine. And that's the donation bag. Well, yeah, postmodernism definitely touches on technology very well. Unsure of its political standings, though. Yeah, that's one of the things about postmodernism is that they do recognize the the changes happening. Maybe don't have the best read on them all the time, but they do acknowledge them and try to deal with them. And dire things seem to just devoid of strategy for change, unlike Marxism. Well, that may be true, but you might, if you didn't have the strategy for change, I mean, that's the wrong way to put it. If you didn't have the analysis behind Marxism, you couldn't get the strategy for change. You need to have the analysis first. So just because they didn't figure out strategies for change doesn't mean that somebody isn't useful. They might have something in their analysis that you could go and apply. Baudrillard is still good. His later work is fairly contemporary though. Yeah. All right. That's the end of. So that's the Ukraine stories. More rising tensions, and I don't know. Not a lot of hope for a resolution that doesn't involve things getting worse. So. Not looking great in Ukraine. Scary dog time. I'm gonna grab a drink real quick and then get to the dogs. All right. Yeah, here comes the scary dogs. Those dogs scare the crap. Yeah, I know, right? We watched a video of the old 10-year-old video of Big Dog from Boston Dynamics the other day. These things have been around for a while, been in development for a while. But apparently Boston Dynamics, the famous robot maker, wasn't aware that the French were doing the same thing. Which, of course they were. French military tested the robotic dog Spot. Spot is a better name than Big Dog. In combat drill, Boston Dynamics tells media it had no idea. Spot, the four-legged robo-canine built by Boston Wait, Spot is Boston Dynamics' dog? So did the French steal it? Spot, the four-legged robo-canine built by Boston Dynamics, appears alongside trainee soldiers during drills carried out by a French military school, but the U.S. firm says it had not been notified in advance about its use. How did they get it then? What? I thought this was their own thing. The pictures of the drill were shared earlier this week on Twitter by France's foremost military school, the École Spéciale Militaire de Saint-Cyr in the country's northwest. The tweet says the drill tested students' awareness of the challenges of tomorrow, like robotization of the battlefield. I didn't want to. Okay, fine. Fine. Let me just. I want to translate. I deployed the robot to recognize Oscar 3, a look back at the applied research exercise organized on March 30th and 31st by the EMIA and the Research Center. Robotization of the battlefield, raising students' awareness of the challenges. Okay. Basically, what they basically translated that. Here's the pictures. So they got the dog working with the soldiers. They got like a little mini drone alongside a tank. Or, I mean, I don't know. That doesn't look like an armored personnel carrier. That looks like a tank. But I can't tell what the fucking, what is it like? Does it have like cannons of some kind? What the fuck is this even? All right, that looks like another drone. It's a four-wheel drone. Okay, it's like a portable. It's a portable cover. That's like a shield. You just can't see it really well from this angle. It's like a three-part shield where it's like on the sides and then on the front. And then you're looking at the side, and then the front is like, yeah, like out here. That's freaky. And then I guess I don't even know what that's supposed to be, but it's some kind of little thing. Boston Dynamics have been selling. Oh wow, they've been selling the technology, and this is the French killer mod. Yeah. Oh no. White flag pop up on the bot where. And it's only in like a few contexts that made the French famous for surrendering. Let's not be uncharitable. That's additional hardware you have to pick up. Yeah. Mercenary robot dog win? Probably already. There probably are PMC. I mean, especially now I realize Boston Dynamics is selling their technology. There's probably PMCs out there that have this stuff, figuring out how to use it. Dogs remind me of AT-ATs from OG Star Wars. Yeah. I see that. Shit. The two-day exercise brought together 80 students with some combat experience and several robots, Spot among them. According to French media, last month's drill reenacted offensive action, defensive action, and urban combat. The actions were performed first without robots, then with their help. The newspaper L'Est France suggests the robot dog was being used for reconnaissance. This is a quote. During the phase of urban combat without a robot, I was killed. But then when the robot did the reconnaissance, I wasn't. The newspaper quotes one of the soldiers who went on to say that Spot didn't prove too reliable as the battery died. In the middle of the assault. Oh man, that's oof. Oof. An executive with Boston Dynamics, Michael Perry, told technology news website The Verge that the RoboDogs developer had no idea it took part in a military drill. We're learning about it as you are. We are not clear on the exact scope of this engagement. He explains that Spot was distributed in Europe by a reseller, Shark Robotics. Oh, so there's layers to this. They're just putting it out there on the market, and it's being, god damn, that's a fucking, oh, this is like nuclear proliferation, but with intelligent thing, like the nukes are intelligent, sort of. They're like freaky and they walk around. This is bad. Trailer for the bot. They walk like living things now. Yeah. They can open doors. Ugh. Okay, so here's the trailer for Spot. Spot. The dog. The robot dog. Spot. Here we go. Oh wait, I shouldn't do full screen, should I? Because it's gonna fuck up. Yeah. All right. Yeah, but it's so tiny. Let me hold up. Let me full screen it, and then I'll get out of the way. That's not cutting off any of it. It's actually that wide. That's fucking fantastic. I love that. I love it when the robots are... Oh, fuck. I left autoplay on. Fucking Ted. Alright. Well, that's gonna give me a shit ton of Ted videos. Oh, man. That's a dark future right there. The psychological impact of this dog is I can't imagine. Yeah. Oh, they definitely are going to be able to increase the battery life. It's just like... Yeah. There's like literally... there's literally a Black Mirror episode about like one of these kind of dogs just going rogue, basically. And it's like, there's no background to it or anything. It's just like, yeah, so like imagine if they had one of these things that could like recharge itself with solar power and it wasn't connected to the military infrastructure or whatever. And basically like it picks a target and goes for it and nobody can control it anymore. And it's just like, you know, it's like a monster movie, basically. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Yeah, but so Spot was distributed in Europe by a reseller, Shark Robotics. So Boston Dynamics sold it to somebody, and then Shark Robotics got it. And then I guess they sold it to the French. I don't know. Boston Dynamics describes Spot as an agile mobile. I mean, like, why would you be surprised if you're putting out advertisements that you're selling this thing? Oh, God. An agile mobile robot that navigates to, like, who could watch that video, that trailer, and not immediately think of military applications? Come on. Reselling death robots. This is Welcome to Clown World. God. This one might make me quit for the night because this is just like, ugh. Spot can carry up to 14 kilos of equipment and be fitted with cameras. Available for sale since last June for seven. It's not even that much. 74,500. That's not that expensive for what this thing is. Holy shit. That thing is under 6 figures. That's crazy. Luddites need to make a comeback. I don't know, man. Maybe. I mean, normally my position is that you need to be like judicious and careful with the application of technology, but as long as things are this bad, maybe we do just need to break all the machines. Holy shit. Yeah, there's so many things that you could do. Like, one of the things that I've seen people talk about is like rescuing people from natural disasters, like being able to send in, and I mean they've got robots that'll do that, where they send them in to climb through the rubble, and it's, you know, you're not risking somebody's life. And it's under your control if you need it to be, as opposed to like a dog or something. But yeah, like there's all kinds of things, scientific applications, cheaper than a Porsche. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, and the fact that like just they're commercially available. Just like if you got that much money, you could buy one, right? Shit. I need to save up $75,000 and buy a spot, and then like put some like $300 guns on it or something, and then have it protect me. Man, that's, and it's gonna get worse too. They're gonna like get cheaper. Marxism today really needs a proper, profound analysis of modern day technology, just as Marx did back in his day. I think you're correct about that. I think that that's true. Yeah, this is nightmare fuel, for real. You can use an artificial intelligence system to go on autonomous missions, however, it's mostly operated by remote control. Well, at least there's that. At least it's not autonomous yet. I got disconnected from the server, but it should all be good. Yeah, this is not good stuff. All right. Here we go. Companies stress that every buyer of Spot robots and other models signs a user agreement. Oh, well. According to which it's prohibited to use robots to harm or intimidate people or as a weapon. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that they've got a TOS, which everybody reads and everybody agrees with. Come on. But then it's like, what, even legally, what does that mean if you then resell it? If, what is it, Shark Robotics resells your fucking robot dog. What the fuck does your TOS say about that shit? The person who bought it from them doesn't give a crap. They probably didn't see it. Some Twitter users found the prospect of robot... Yeah, you don't say. Found it terrifying. I'd be far more terrified of a robot murder dog than a human with a gun, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. That's hard to say. Others are saying robot dogs like that would help save lives. I mean, yeah, maybe if you don't put it in the fucking military. We already use combat robots. This one just knows how to navigate rocks. What what you mean, like, are you calling like drones robots? I don't know what qualifies as a combat robot here. Better a robot get blown up. Why are they posting a tweet that got one like? Talk about, like, okay, I'm sure that there's tweets out there that got more number. Let's check this Verge tweet because I'm sure we'll see what the top one is on this. Replies. Well, that one got nothing. Wow. Okay. Apparently the Verge is not very popular. Weird. Nobody responded to any of the replies. Okay. I guess those were the top replies. That's bizarre. You would think that would get more attention. right, the chat's talking about postmodernism and all that stuff. All right, what else is here? Boston Dynamics is working on developing what it calls the most advanced robots on Earth. The firm initially developed robots for the U.S. Army. So yeah, you shouldn't be surprised that it's being used for military purposes, but then later moved into commercial markets. Spot is being tested by U.S. police, including by the NYPD. I can't wait until a robot kneels on somebody's neck for 10 minutes until they die. The U.S. Air Force is also currently testing a robot similar to the Spot, built by a rival firm. Was another story. A New York counselor wants to keep weaponized robot dogs out of police hands after successful tests. Sounds like probably a good idea. Militaries around the world have already started using robots in warfare, remotely operated drones, for example. Critics oppose the use of robots by law enforcement and military organizations, citing concerns that using robots desensitizes humans by separating them from the consequences of conflict and also poses an increased danger to civilians. I mean, I'm sure that critics have more to say than that. Boston Dynamics robot dogs went viral when they were first seen being used to compel people to maintain social distancing in Singapore. Oh, that's already really dark. As the coronavirus outbreak spread last year, the devices have been used for a variety of tasks seen as undesirable for humans to perform. They've been used to map construction sites and tested as a bomb-diffusing robot by police in the U.S. Spot has also been fitted with a radiation sensor and deployed to Chernobyl, the site of the 1986 nuclear disaster. Like, yeah, those are like actual potentially. That's like something you could do that's useful. But no, we got to do it with military drills. Yeah, all right. Military drills to train the bots. You know, they could do that sort of thing. That's the way that, like, what do you call it? The learning AI. The way that they have like neural networks set up, you could run a robot through military drills and teach it that way. Let's see what Twitter is saying about Spot. Yeah, I don't know. Well, they had that one tweet. Where was? Let's start with that. Oh, there we go. This is the French one. This is from like a couple days ago. It's got a few replies. But I thought they had tested it thoroughly while filming the latest jokes. Yeah, and then like nothing particular. Let's see, Twitter. Let's do a search. Spot Boston Dynamics. This has 56 replies, but this is the Verge tweet. Next thing, it'll be weaponized version. I mean, that's what they're doing with, yeah, that's what's happening here. Right, and what combat scenario? I mean, obviously, it doesn't make a lot of sense to train against somebody else using this thing yet, but yeah, and then they're all showing like, I don't even know, BO2. What is that? Boston Dynamics promise you won't use our product as a weapon. And they're like, yeah, we promise. Fingers crossed. I thought Boston Dynamics had in their contract. Yeah, they couldn't whip it. What? But then they resold it, so it doesn't matter. Oh, yeah, the original company was funded by the military. Yeah. What could possibly go? Yeah. So where are the French planning their next genocide? I don't know. I feel like France is not in a position to colonize people right now, but yeah, this is from Black Mirror. That's the drone from Black Mirror that I was referring to. French army stop to be French as soon as they start to use and work for USA. Well, buddy, that's a little late for that. And yeah, this is talking about Skynet and posting a GIF from Terminator. Yeah, have you watched Black Mirror? Yeah. How long till it falls in the hands of terrorists? Yeah, and then also posting the Black Mirror episode. What does this say? It's a shame. Yeah, it is a shame. How long till Spot has some C4 attached and just, yeah. I mean, like, it would be super easy. It would be a waste of the money, but it would be super easy for, like, somebody to do terrorism with that thing. Like, strap an IED to it. Although I guess you probably could have it programmed to drop the thing off somewhere and then leave. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is just, like, dangerous. Against who? Italy, Germany, Spain, or maybe against Switzerland? Yeah, I don't know who France has that they're going to use this against. Maybe more likely the third world. What kind of gun can you attach to it? What do they say, 14 kilograms? So there's plenty of guns that would fall underneath that limit. France does seem to be in a position to colonize again. Yeah. Maybe use it against protesters. Yeah. Yeah, it would be very useful for, like, gas, like tear gas and stuff, because unlike a human administering the gas, the robot is immune. So that would make sense as something to use the thing for. $75,000, pretty cheap for such an advanced weapon, yeah. Although that's probably just for the unit. The batteries probably cost more. Like, you probably have to swap the batteries out. It only lasts 90 minutes, they said. What a surprise. The first real use case for robot dogs. War, yep. Yeah, people are just posting, science fiction. And yeah, war. War has changed. Like, Metal Gear. Imagine how terrifying an armed robot dog would be coming toward. Yeah. Wasn't it supposed to go into space? That would be... Yeah, why don't they send one of these things to space? Surely you could make, like, a walking robot that go on Mars. That would do better than the ones with wheels. I guess maybe it's just too many possible points of failure. Yeah, it was going to happen at some point. Yeah, pretty much. Really not a good use case considering future why we want to make movies real. Yeah. I'd be far more terrified of a robot murder dog than a human. Oh yeah, that's the one that they posted. That's the one tweet that they put in the article. Yeah. So yeah, pretty overwhelmingly people are negative about this. I don't know where they're getting this idea that people are supportive of it. Like, I don't think I've seen one supportive tweet. Here's maybe a neutral one, like the mind blown thing, but like, yeah. Oh, here's a statement. Today we learned that an art group is planning a spectacle to draw attention to a provocative use of our industrial robot Spot. To be clear, we condemn the portrayal of our technology in any way that promotes violence, harm, or intimidation. Our mission is to create and deliver surprisingly capable robots that inspire delight and positively impact society. We can take care to make sure our customers... We take great care to ensure our customers intend to use our robots for legal uses, which is different from non-violent uses. We cross-check every purchase request against the U.S. government's denied persons and entities list prior to authorizing a sale. In addition, all buyers must agree to our terms and conditions of sale. Who do they think they're fooling with this shit? Which state that our products must be used in compliance with the law. Again, that doesn't mean not violently, and cannot be used to harm or intimidate people or animals. Any violation of our terms of sale will automatically void the product's warranty. Oh no. Oh no. If the warranty is voided, what are they gonna do? What the fuck? What are they gonna do with a voided warranty on this fucking mobile robotic weapons platform? Oh, I don't like this timeline. I don't like. I want to go back. Any violation of terms of sale will only avoid a warranty and prevent the robot from being updated, service, repaired, or replaced. How would you know if they violated it though? Like, how would you know that they didn't use it for anything? Like yeah, oh, in theory you'd be able to like shut it down remotely, I guess, but how would you fucking know? Yeah, totally. I totally could see you putting stuff like this on Mars, and that it would be way more effective than like the rovers that they've got. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you might run into problems with like stuff breaking down because of how much more complicated it would be. But yeah, at some point we're going to have like stuff walking around to colonize other planets. Um, oh, farms. I don't know if that's a reference to some specific thing, but yeah, you totally could use this stuff for agriculture too. Be good for automating stuff, pick fruits or something. Yeah. Wonder how the dog could be used by any antagonistic groups. Yeah, everyone I know IRL is saying she's looking pretty bleak for the future. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck. Who looks at this and is like, oh yeah, that's. I feel relieved that the French military has robots in their military program, and they're training with these Boston Dynamics robots that people have been afraid of for 10 years since that thing went viral. Like. That just smells like manufacturing consent to say that there's people who support this. Like, yeah, we found one person who tweeted something positive in the replies. Now, provocative art can help push useful dialogue about the role of technology in our daily lives. This art, however, fundamentally misrepresents Spot and how it's being used to benefit our daily lives. All right. Okay, and this was like a retweet, so people are not happy about this tweet by Boston Dynamics. And I guess they posted a screenshot of a statement because it was too long for a tweet. You fucking idiots, pathetic money-hungry assholes. Way to go giving your machines to the military. Yeah, this is all we need to kill the robots instead of using your morals. I guess engineering is less and less about creating stuff for humans, but for governments. I mean, I wouldn't say that things have changed so much as the technology's advanced a little bit there. You know, they started as a military project. You know, was this like the art piece?
Dynamics is really concerned about any situation where Spot might end up harming a person, even if it's just getting your hand pinched by one of the joints. They also said that they didn't want to sell to any clients who would use Spot to harm people or build weapons modules or anything like that, which was good to hear. Dynamics is really concerned about any situation where Spot might...
a corporate blurb. We're very concerned that you might get your finger pinched in the joint. Yeah, but then the French military's got it, and they're gonna stick, machine guns on it. We know robots will allow the U.S. to make some safer war. God, oh my God, I fucking hate this shit. We know robots will allow USA to make some safer wars for U.S. soldiers. Why is it wrong? Why is it a wrong thing? Imagine that any war could involve human people. Oh, that's how war works. That's how it works. Only tech or even yeah. Oh yeah. People are just gonna start simulating battles, and then whoever wins the simulation, they just win the war and they surrender. That's how it works. That's how war functions. Oh my God. This reads like somebody, and look at a bunch of numbers. That sounds like a bot. Yeah, this looks like a bot that was purchased to say stuff like that. Yeah, this looks like maybe just a random bot for hire or something. A bunch of like promotional unrelated shit. And Boston Dynamics is like, hey, please write a tweet saying that this is cool. Yeah, listen, IBM, and why also is it? I guess it's at the top because it got so many replies, got ratioed. Why we need to be in a war? Good point. So in other words, we will attack anyone for any reason because there will be zero risk to our lives, and all the risk is the enemies. That's actually a pretty on-point criticism. Yeah. You're being incredibly ignorant, arrogant, short-sighted. You and Boston Dynamics are like mad scientists. I think that's overstating the importance of that tweeter, but yeah. People think it's going to be these robots against other ones, but it's going to be about bots against. Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, they're going to send these bots after like insurgents and shit, right? Oh no, it's not going to be us bots versus U.S. bots versus Iranian bots. It'll be U.S. bots versus Iranian civilians. Yep, pretty much the deal. Perhaps making war at all more palatable is the wrong direction to go in. Another good ideological criticism of that argument. No war at all would be even safer. Yeah, imagine. The international arms trade is a stimulus to war. Yeah, true. Wouldn't it be safer to stop creating wars all around the world? Yes. If you're going to kill, then you should have to watch the person die. Otherwise, it's of no consequence to end it. I mean, I think that's the wrong way of looking at it, but I mean, got the spirit, I guess. I think the idea is that we are more likely to start conflicts, murder people, and engage in combat when we know that we won't. I mean, yeah, that's somebody was already saying the loss of the lives of our soldiers is a big deterrent. Yeah, I feel like also what should be inserted here is like maybe you shouldn't be so cavalier about just like how many civilians, and you know, also the lives of soldiers matter too. Like people always make the thing about civilians and stuff, but like if you didn't go to war with a country, you wouldn't have like so many soldiers from that country dying either. So yeah, it's maybe instead of writing off the deaths of who knows how many people when the US or France invade somebody, have a little bit of concern for the consequences of these things. Well, listen, IBM only leases its tabulating machines to governments that promise to use them in accordance with relevant local laws. So that should cover it, I think. Oh, that is perfect. That is perfect for if anybody doesn't know. That's a reference to the National Socialists in Germany in the 30s and 40s using IBM machines to tabulate all of the undesirables that they were sending to their concentration camps. There's a whole bunch of history of technology like that being used for horrible things, and that's a big example. What the fuck? This sounds neat. They're okay selling killbots to cops. What's neat here? Yeah. What is neat here? I'm curious. Killbots are what's neat. Okay. Okay, sociopath. Are you going to come out and specifically bar the possibility of bots being used by police forces? Banning of intimidating users doesn't necessarily rule out applications as automated surveillance spy bots. True. Like the guy in the article, the French soldier was saying that the reconnaissance made a big difference. Industrial use is important, but please don't sell to LE, law enforcement. Yeah, okay. That's depressing enough. I'm going to switch to a different story. I'm glad that people see how bullshit it is, but it's depressing that there seems like there's not much people can do about it. Alright, where were we? French military test a robot dog spot. Alright. I think I'm going to cut this one short. Not a lot of viewers, and man, that's a fucking depressing story. But I'm going to go ahead and read through the rest of the headlines at least. Violence must stop before someone dies. Irish FM laments seen at riots in Northern Ireland. Okay, so here's a Northern Ireland story. It says Dublin not to blame. Dublin has promised to play its part in bringing an end to the unrest sweeping across Northern Ireland, calling on the EU to use the flexibilities in the post-Brexit agreement before someone is killed in the violence. These are scenes we haven't seen in Northern Ireland for a very long time. This needs to stop before somebody is killed or seriously injured, Irish Foreign Minister Simon Coveney told broadcaster RTE on Thursday. Yeah. So we saw some footage of this the other day. I just read those paragraphs. Coveney spoke of the need for political leadership to come together, stop trading jibes, and restore peace, adding that Dublin was willing to play its part in overcoming the violence. Speaking with News Talk Breakfast later Thursday, I feel like this isn't really going to cover what's going on. Let's skip. Okay, here we go. No, tension related to Belfast post-Brexit arrangement. So maybe they will get into it. The protocol is part of an international treaty. It's part of international law. There are flexibilities but built into the protocol. I and the Irish government have been advocating within the EU for quite some time now that we use those flexibilities to the maximum extent possible, he stated. UK PM Johnson and Taoiseach Michel Martin have condemned Wednesday's violence after a double-deck bus was completely destroyed. Holy shit. After it was set alight by protesters. A journalist was also attacked in the unrest. According to the Police Federation of Northern Ireland, at least 7 officers were injured in the violence last night and 15 officers injured in violence during recent days. No, 55 officers injured in violence during recent days. That's a ton. The anger relates to the protocol governing Northern Ireland, which sees the British territory remain inside the EU's single market but outside the trading bloc. Unionists claim the post-Brexit arrangement sees a de facto border created around the Irish Sea, separating Belfast from the rest of the UK. Yeah. Oh, okay, here we go. There's comments on this. Come on. There will be no peace until the establishment and their foot soldiers are booted out, same all over the world. The Molotov cocktail throwing protests are being staged all across Europe. Ordinary Europeans didn't spontaneously decide to just start tossing Molotovs all of a sudden. Yeah, Molotov cocktails have been thrown in Ireland before, yeah. Maybe the British should get out of Ireland. Yeah, it's almost like not related to the story, but I'm glad to see people posting that stuff here. Technically, there are no inborn indigenous British in Northern Ireland. Yeah, okay. Where are you, Shadowbot loyalist terrorists? So silent on the matter. Can you not speak about it? Did General Nick Carter tell you to keep your mouth shut? Or are yellow and feel embarrassed after all your anti-China hate attacks? We await your reply. Thanks so much. So people are like bantering about it. Belfast isn't exactly all of Northern Ireland. High unemployment, zombie apocalypse, and lockdowns, a trifecta of things that cause rioting. Yeah. Abortion rights are now on the nationalist side since Ireland passed England. Okay. That's weird. I guess that's funny. So that's not like a whole lot of news, but has their aim improved? I don't know. Like, apparently the ones that we saw the video of the other day was just like a couple of them. But yeah, the video showed like 3 attempts at throwing Molotovs. 2 of them just completely missed, and then 1 bounced off the vehicle. But it sounds like they did actually set a double-decker bus on fire. So, and it was destroyed. So, I don't know. There's no, like, right side in this one, it doesn't seem like, though. Israel will not cooperate with ICC probe, government says. Of course it won't. Israel will formally notify the International Criminal Court that it will not cooperate with the Hague-based tribunal's probe into alleged war crimes committed in the Palestinian territories, the Israeli government said on Thursday, after a meeting by senior Israeli officials. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office reiterated his government's position that the ICC has no authority to investigate Israelis. So nothing really new there. ISIS Redux, the Central Syria insurgency in March 2021. ISIS attacks increased significantly. March had the second most attacks in the high quality asterisk attacks since the start of the insurgency. While February's decline in ISIS activity matched the pattern of the previous 2 years, this month's surge came about almost 1 month earlier than it did in 2020. So I guess maybe things are getting less stable in Syria. U.S. prepared to lift sanctions inconsistent with Iran nuclear deal. United States is prepared to remove sanctions on Iran to resume compliance with the Iran nuclear deal, including those that are inconsistent with the 2015 pact, the U.S. State Department said on Wednesday without providing details. So probably there's not going to be anything in this article. Maybe they're walking back what they were saying, though. Yes, short one. We are prepared to take the steps necessary to return to compliance with the JCPOA, including by lifting sanctions that are inconsistent with the JCPOA. I am not in a position to give you chapter and verse on what this might be. So it's just a basic statement. But hey, maybe that's a sign that they're walking back the thing they were saying before, where they wanted to make the terms even worse for Iran after the U.S. backed out of the deal. Fucking assholes. Peru, national polls forecast low turnout in election. Yeah, we covered that. Predicting a big electoral tie. Cuban Medical Brigade extends collaboration in Barbados. The Cuban Medical Brigade that has worked in Barbados for a year to fight COVID-19 will extend its services to that country. That's good. At the request of Barbadian authorities, all 115 members of the Henry Reeve contingent specialized in situations, disasters, and big epidemics will continue working in that country until early October. It's a mouthful of a name. Also a very short article. According to the Cuban Foreign Ministry, the extension of the agreement for 6 months was signed on Thursday by the General Director of Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Juliet Benoit-Sutherland, and Cuban Ambassador Sergio Jorge Pastrana. Present at the ceremony were Kenneth George, a senior medical official from the Ministry of Health and Welfare in Barbados, Barbadian Ambassador at CARICOM David Comisiong, and the CARICOM Director at the Foreign Ministry of Barbados, Sandra Gittins. Okay, so not really anything more than what was being said here, but sounds like it's good that they're helping people out with COVID. All right, let's not read out some of these negative comments. Might be bad for TOS. Diamond calls on companies to be policymakers. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon is calling on companies to play a bigger role in the world's problems, saying today in his annual shareholders letter that the business sector should be a responsible community citizen. Corporations are increasingly facing more pressure to take a stand on politically divisive issues. Skim this. Alright, it's short anyway. Why? So this like a bunch of companies like ours have an extraordinary capability. Yeah, what he's saying, I think America has a bright future. I don't know about that. I don't know if we're at a crossroads or not, but I think the better strategy is to assume we are and to fix it. I mean, if you want to be good at fixing something, maybe you shouldn't assume that things are going to turn out well. You should be considerate of the possibility that they won't. It's a bad idea to not fix it and hope that it really wasn't that important. So he's like saying nothing. It's just platitudes. But he's saying that he wants to be a policymaker as a rich guy. As one of the big bourgeoisie. Diamond's letter is widely read for the head of the nation's banks, musings in the economy, the financial system, and politics. He dedicates an entire section to public policy. Yeah, so already trying to influence policy. Diamond says the nation's policy design and implementation have been hampered in short-term things. Yeah. Just buzzwords. All right. business tax rate should be globally competitive, so lower tax rates is what he wants. The wealthy are less likely to complain about taxes if the money is to help the less fortunate or build better. Yeah, I don't think that applies at all. Complaining about banks being less relevant. Silicon Valley and big tech is competing with banks, but I like banks because I'm rich. For every 100 employees, JP Morgan may need seats for only 60 on average. This will significantly reduce our need for real estate. Yeah, and encroach upon people's fucking home life. God. Alright. U.S. jobless claims up to 744,000 as virus forces layoffs. Yeah. No surprise there. Labor Department said Thursday that applications increased by 16,000 from 728,000 a week earlier. Increased by. Okay. Yeah. Jobless claims have declined sharply since the virus slammed into the economy in March of last year. The economy was already doing poorly before the virus. The virus made it worse, but the crash started first. But they remained stubbornly high by historical standards. Before the pandemic erupted, weekly applications typically remained below 220,000 a week. So it's saying... Okay, so it's saying that it's still increasing, but like the increase this week wasn't that big. It's probably just like a fluctuation. That shit is, you know, it varies a lot. Woman killed by police during eviction squatted for a year without lease. The woman shot dead by police who were serving an eviction warrant Tuesday in Miami had been squatting in the apartment without a lease for a year, according to a source familiar with operations at the building. The source tells Local 10 News the woman, identified by police as 40-year-old Stephanie Nicole Boykin, came over for a party while other tenants lived in that unit on the top floor of the Brickell First Apartments, 110 Southwest 12th Street, and never left. Yeah. Give it a skim. Yeah, that's what squatting is, when you come in and you don't leave. So, like, I don't know the details, but what would prompt you to use lethal force in a routine eviction? Previous tenants of the apartment said that it departed early in the COVID-19 panic, but she didn't go. Oh, so basically, yeah. So here's people not being able to afford rent and being evicted during coronavirus. And like, she's hanging around in the spot, but other people had to leave. No officers were hurt, of course not. She was rushed to the Ryder Trauma Center where she was pronounced dead. Yeah, police shoot to kill. Neighbors in the building say that Boykin was armed, some saying she threatened them with a gun. I mean, I guess that would make sense to do if you're gonna be kicked out on the street. It's happened before. We were playing loud music and she came and knocked at the door and pointed a gun at us. Maybe, I don't know. People tend to say shit like that after cops kill somebody. Or once in the elevator and she was kind of standoffish, a little bit aggressive. It's kind of gross to go around asking people for opinions like this after somebody fucking died. And they didn't say there was any evidence that she prompted the police to shoot her. I don't know what the story is. It didn't go into that detail. During the shooting, I heard gunshots from 6 floors below. He heard the gunshots, and then he said he went outside and heard a bunch of noises and screams. He said a helicopter was right outside our balcony window. A moratorium on evictions was designed to protect people who couldn't pay because of the pandemic. Boykin didn't fall under that, according to the source familiar with operations of the building. So you found somebody that you could legally evict, basically. Fucking landlords. We created a task force for the sheer number of evictions that are going on right now. They had a whole task force they had to make for evictions during coronavirus, during a pandemic. God bless America. Records show Boykin had been evicted before and had a history of arrests, and yeah, okay. Trying to smear somebody they killed. Alright. And resisting arrest when she allegedly refused to leave a man's room. So just like... Yeah, not related to this incident. Separate incidents. Yeah, standard procedure. They're handling like an internal investigation. So apparently no like details about what happened there really. Cops kill somebody that they trying to get evicted because coronavirus, basically. She was squatting, but like, oh no, how horrible that is. Somebody's trying to stay inside during a pandemic. Sanctions are destroying U.S. dollar status as world's top currency. The United States' reliance on economic sanctions to coerce other countries is gradually losing its effectiveness and is slowly degrading one of Washington's most influential tools in international affairs, the power of the U.S. dollar, experts told Newsweek. Yep, so the U.S. hegemony is weakening because they keep overplaying their hand. The continuing story. NYPD Goon Squad manual teaches officers to violate protesters' rights. Despite its visibility, little is publicly known about the SRG and how its specialized officers are trained to respond to protest. Even the frequently cited number of 700 SRG officers is an estimate. The NYPD will not confirm the unit's headcount. Yeah, alright, this is like a long story. So, yeah, not really surprising. You got like a shadow squad within the NYPD. When thousands of New Yorkers poured into the city's streets last summer following the police killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, they were met with the very police violence they had come to protest. Yeah, alright. I hate that they pad this stuff out. I just want to get the point. Yeah, they're just like, stop trying to tell a story. I don't want to hear. I don't want to read a narrative. I just want to hear the facts. Come on. Got to put a bunch of fluff in here. But yeah, short version of this. They got a secret police in New York Police Department. All right. Ghost guns and red flags. Biden calls gun violence an epidemic. Fires off anti-gun executive orders. Biden's actions come in the aftermath of 2 prolific mass shootings in the U.S. I think we're up to like 3 or 4 now. In Boulder, Colorado, and Atlanta, Georgia last month. However, Biden's orders do nothing to achieve his campaign promises and to ban so-called assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, to hold gun manufacturers legally accountable for shooting deaths, and to close the Charleston loophole, which allows customers to buy firearms if their FBI background check is not completed within 3 days. So what does it do? What do the executive orders actually do? Alright, so the orders were revealed by the White House a day earlier and include a directive asking the Justice Department to crack down on untraceable ghost guns and issue model red flag legislation and a proposed restriction on shoulder braces for pistols. So, like, bullshit. Sounds like just bullshit. Bubba, my KGB. Yeah. People in the U.S. do not apply the same standards to U.S. government entities and what do you call it? foreign government entities. Like, the US government could be doing exactly the same shit that they criticize other people for, if they just make excuses for it. Alright, he's talking about mass shootings. He said he would ban assault weapons with his campaign promises and hold gun manufacturers legally accountable, ban high-capacity magazines, close the Charleston loophole, but this is not what the executive orders are doing, and Congress isn't moving on this. They would be the ones who'd have to do it anyway. Yeah, it's bitterly divisive, no shit. With Biden's model red flag laws based on tips from these people's family and friends. Jesus Christ. Conservative commentators have warned that these laws may be used by Democrats to disarm their political opponents. I mean, yeah, I wonder if that's ever happened before. Furthermore, they argue that red flag laws violate the constitutional right to due process that allow the courts to disarm people who haven't been convicted of any crime. Biden reassured conservatives that nothing he proposed impinges in any way on the Second Amendment, but in the same breath insisted no amendment to the Constitution is absolutely... Oh, God. A statement that plenty of Republicans and legal scholars would disagree with. I mean, you can rescind amendments. It's happened before, but, like, to say those two things back to back is nuts. Yeah, well, he says that these executive orders are just the start of a wider campaign to crack down on senseless gun violence. Yeah, we'll see. They never like to do anything with that because it's too good of a political issue to milk. Oops. Is that, all right, this is the next one. Alabama GOP Senate candidate is extremely outraged at affair allegations before being presented with a 17-minute tape. All right, well, somebody kept the receipts, I guess. As rumors of extramarital affairs swirled around Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill, the conservative Republican did what conservative Republicans do in times of controversy and tumult. He sought refuge in the warm embrace of conservative talk radio to line up his denials and get his story straight. All right, yeah. Republicans being clowns. What else is new? Texas lawmakers advance restrictive election bill. The legislation would impose criminal penalties for errors during the election process, such as making it a felony for an official to give a voter an absentee ballot application or solicit the submission of an application if the voter does not request it first. That sounds just wide open for abuse. Alright, but that's been going on nationally for a while now. I don't think that's anything big. Let's see, I'll briefly go over the op-eds and then I'll call it a night. Let's see if there's... First, I'll see if there's anybody to raid. If anybody that I like is on, I can send them a raid. It looks like none of the people I follow are playing right now or streaming right now, so I'll go ahead and just end the stream, I guess, when I get to the end. But first I'll read through these op-eds. 21st Century Road to Serfdom runs through Silicon Valley. When California's Proposition 22 passed last year, its immediate dangers were already widely understood. The measure, which effectively allows companies like Uber and Lyft to create a new employment category that is neither employee nor independent contractor, seems certain to make gig economy work even more precarious than it already is. The state's rideshare workers being stripped of basic rights and benefits like overtime pay, sick leave, eligibility for unemployment insurance, not to mention the ability to form a union. Their wages, meanwhile, are also destined to drop. One estimate from the UC Berkeley Labor Center suggesting that hourly pay for gig drivers may sink as low as $5.64 an hour, a sum more or less equivalent in real terms to the minimum wage when Harry Truman was president. The circumstances around the initiative itself were also pretty Orwellian, with companies including a proviso in the measure's fine print that will make it practically impossible to undo. Its repeal requiring no less than 7/8 of all votes in the state legislature. Between this, a misleading ad campaign, and a marketing offensive upward of $200 million, it's no exaggeration to say that multi-billion-dollar corporations are now just buying laws and rewriting the labor code to suit their own bottom lines. Well, and then of course today we find out that the vote to unionize Amazon is failing. So, well, what happens when people realize that reform isn't going to work? What happens when people realize that a peaceful revolution is not possible? I mean, some people are going to sit down and take it, but how many? People need to be ready for when shit gets real bad. Biden picks Kamala Harris to carry the carrot and stick in Central America. The perfect person in the cabinet for it. The White House announced recently that Vice President Kamala Harris would take charge of the Biden administration's efforts to deter migration to the southwestern border by working to improve conditions in Central America. Yeah, improve conditions. The effort would oversee an infusion of billions of dollars into the ravaged economies of the so-called Northern Triangle of Central America, NTCA, comprising the nations of El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. According to Pew Research Center, immigration to the United States between 2007 and 2015 from these three countries outpaced all others, growing by 25%. Most recent data provided by the UN Refugee Agency shows how the pandemic has exacerbated the endemic problems of violence and extortion that motivate the immigrants' departure, causing over 500,000 people from the region to migrate in 2020. Nothing more all-American than the Monroe Doctrine. Yep. Raid infrared? I don't know if I want to do that. If they're still on, maybe. I mean, people are going to probably want to watch it in here, I guess. People can't imagine a way out of the current situation, so they just let things happen and hope they never get hurt by what comes. Yeah, that's part of it. That's a part of it. Yeah. I mean, not much you can say about this story. Like, the U.S. is going to flex its hegemony while it still has it. What a hell of a way to die. How did this class system get into my Imperial Navy? This week, Nate and Francis discuss a viral story about a Navy officer based in Japan accused of writing a letter about why he doesn't want to live among deviant enlisted troops. Who knows if the letter is real? What we do know is that the Navy absolutely loves to segregate between officer and enlisted, more so than most other branches, and also it's an opportunity for us to read the comment section on military.com and find the true gems. Oh, this is what a hell of the podcast, what a hell of a way to die. All right. Can I embed SoundCloud into, hold on, let me see, that might be possible. Hold on, I wonder if I can put SoundCloud on the site.
Hi everyone, Nate here.
Okay, hi everyone, but I'm not gonna. I wonder if that'll work. Let me see if I can do that. I can embed SoundCloud. Incredible. Hold on. Let me see if it works real quick. Dude, it worked. I don't hear anything, but that's because I've got
a new episode every week on our Patreon. The link is in the show notes, and for $5 a month, you get access to all the bonus content we put out since.
Shit. Oh, I fucked up the interface, so I can't get back to me. Shit. Maybe if I delete. There we go. Maybe if I. That's all right. So I can fucking queue up SoundCloud. So I'll just leave. I'll leave that. So I can fucking queue up. I'll SoundCloud. So I'll just mute myself there. I'll queue up the SoundCloud and I'll play myself out, and then I need to do it again because it deleted after I went away from it. Yeah, I'll just do that. That's cool. And then, infrared can come on after that. All right, cool. So, anybody wants to watch the the SoundCloud podcast, the What a Hell of a Way to Die. Let me post the link, the secret SciTube stream here. People can go watch that. I'll queue it up as soon as I'm gone, but I'm done with the news for today. I'll be back tomorrow. I was off a couple days earlier this week, so I'll do Friday this week. Yeah, I think that's about it. Nothing else to say, really. I've got the SoundCloud queued up, so that's it for me today. Remember, instead of like, comment, and subscribe, I'll say at the end, agitate, educate, organize.
That's all, folks.